India, if you all would will be missing that run, that run wouldn't happen and we would have won the same finals and today we will be in finals, right? But we cannot underestimate anyone. We have to respect the rivals, as our theme says. So if we won't respect them, we will be underestimating them. And if we underestimate them, then there is no way that we can get to our goal. We can pass them. We cannot win over them. So so in today's meeting, we will be talking about the respect of rivals. And before we move forward, I would like to tell you the 3 basic rules of our meeting. First one, please put your phone on silent or switch off mode. You have 10 seconds for it. Yeah. And other one, we would not be talking about sex, religion and politics in our whole meeting. Okay? Fine? And the third one, we would not walk over the room when a speaker is on the stage. Fine? So to take this meeting forward, there is a very special person who is our presiding officer, and he is a technical person. So if you all have any technical doubt, you can reach out to him. You reach out to him, okay? So this person is the president of our club, and he likes to solve the technical problems of his friends and family. So please put your hands together for our presiding officer and president of the club, Toastmaster Rahul.
Good evening everyone and welcome to the 316th meeting of Toastmasters Runner Pride. Today's theme of the day is respect your rivals. When I think of respect your rivals, first thing that comes to my mind is any competitive area. I have been part of many competitive areas in the past, whether it be in the form of some sport or whether it be in the form of competing for a particular job. And each of the times I have faced very difficult competitive enemies. Enemies because they are fighting for the same shared goal, that is to win a particular game or to win a particular job. And each of the times I found a lot of difficult competition. People much more skilled than me, much more better than me, much more years experience than me. Every time I used to feel that why these people so better than me, and I used to always resent these people. But now that so much time has passed and I have reached many of these goals, the thing which I really look back and notice is that all these people who are my strong opponents have actually made me the person who I am today. Whether it is playing a particular sport, each time I lost to these strong opponents, I have learned some strategy from their skill set. And after applying it to my own game, I have actually become much better. Similarly, when applying to certain jobs, each time I didn't get a particular job, I learned from the people who are ahead of me and who got the particular job. And by incorporating their strategies, I have definitely grown and achieved my goals. So in the end, I would like to say that although we may be disappointed when we come across such strong opponents, but it is these people who actually make us the person who we are. Therefore, we must respect them for that. Now coming to today's meeting, we are actually a part of a group called Toastmasters International. Toastmasters International helps everyone to improve 3 skills: public speaking, leadership and communication. These are all very crucial which help us to improve the soft skills area of our life. Because many times we have the hard skills, but the things that hold us back are our soft skills. And this platform actually helps you to improve that particular area. It has been across more than 143 countries and has more than 350,000 members worldwide. And has been helping people for more than 90 plus years to improve their lives both professionally and personally. Before we get more into the meeting, I would like to know a little bit more from the guests who are coming today. So let's have a round of guest introductions. You can just say your name and how you want to know about Toastmasters. So let's start from.
So I'm P.M. Kaloor. This is my first class. I got to know about Toastmasters from my friend July. And I only encourage her to come with me today here because I understand that these skills are very important to talk to people.
Welcome.
Hi, I'm July. And my manager actually with my I never feel something.
Welcome.
So I do
So I'm Tejas. So one of my friends and Toastmasters and English, he told me this quote. I mean, it's good for public speaking and other things.
Thanks, sir. And I was working on this stuff for other faculty. Just want to work on all of the skills.
Welcome.
I am Sonia. My sister is a member of Toastmasters club, so I came in along with her. Actually, I also want to improve my public speaking skills. So let's have some experience there.
Who's this? Okay, hi.
Hi everyone, my name is Saravanan. So I work at July Toastmasters. So basically we started the Toastmasters Club at our office about a month back. So we are working through that. So I just wanted to know how it is to attend a session outside, how they conduct it. I wanted to take things back to my office. So this is the first session. When I searched online, this is the first thing that came up. But then I read the reviews and they were also very good. So I just wanted to experience it. So,
Thank you.
Hey guys, my name is Pulkit. I came from a Toastmasters to move in India, just searching for a complete course in Bangalore. And I'm an engineer by background, but I've never worked in an engineering firm. I mainly worked in finance and business. And I recently moved to Bangalore from Delhi, so this is my first class for Toastmasters.
Hi guys, my name is Sunny. I just came to know about this from my friend. He was recommended for financing products.
Welcome. I think with this we cover all the guests. And coming back to the Toastmasters and in particular our club is one of the most popular clubs in whole of Bangalore. As you can see, we have won a lot of awards, right from different ones in public speaking, impromptu speaking, to even someone different things like sports and cricket. So as you can see, we have got a lot of awards here and we have a lot of well-known speakers in the whole of Bangalore. So definitely you are in good hands when you come to this club. Coming to the Toastmaster meeting, I will not be carrying forward the meeting from here on. And you have a special person called the MC. But before I get into that, I'd like to just discuss one point for the members. So we are starting a new sort of method of organizing our roles and planning our roles. So our weekly education, Dalsha will be passing around a sheet to all the members to fill. In that there are different columns. There is one for the tag team, the MC, PTM, and the evaluators. So if you are interested in taking up such roles in the future, so you can fill out your name to whichever fields you want, and she will be reaching out to you as and when those slots need to be filled, and will help you to get more of such slots in the future. So you can pass on that sheet and you can fill it up as the meeting is progressing. So coming back to the meeting, I'd like to call the host for the meeting, who is a very special person. He's one of the experienced members in our club. He has been our immediate past EP membership and is very well known for his general evaluations and his insight. So please welcome the MC for the day, Toastmaster Sanjay.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rahul, for such a kind and generous words. Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and dear guests. I am playing your host for the today's meeting, or in other words, I am playing MC or Master of Ceremony for today's meeting in Toastmasters terminology. When I think about the theme of today's meeting, it reminds me of my school days, wherein we used to have multiple competitions across the sections on sports, on extracurricular activities, on academic sections. However, as we all were very close friends, we used to learn and teach from each other, even though we were competing with each other. And because of which, what used to happen was, no matter whoever used to win, we all used to grow and flourish collectively as a group, as a friends group. When I joined my corporate life, even though there were many competitions, but because there was no respect for each other, there was no deference for each other, what has happened was the learning was gradually quite a minimal and almost close to nothing. So we were not learning from each other. And thereby what has happened was the growth of collectively as a team was not there at all. So what I realized was whenever we respect each other, we become watchful of our opponents, we become watchful of their strengths, their strategies. Thereby it allows us to learn certain things from them, their good parts of it, and with our own efforts and the learning from or implementing the learnings from them, it allows us to grow. So thereby what happens in the process, no matter whoever wins the competition, but at least the growth happens for every individual and as a collectively as a group. So that is what is all about when we respect the opponents. So it creates an atmosphere wherein it would be a fair, transparent and healthy atmosphere. Thereby what happens is it creates an atmosphere wherein every opponent should respect each other and they would motivate and they would perform their best of their ability. So that is what the benefit of respecting and allowing the opponents to give their best possible efforts, so that thereby you will also get motivated to learn and to compete with them. So no matter even if you lose, but you will still be, there will be some amount of growth in you in every aspect. So that's my take about today's theme. Now about Toastmaster has already been told by our presiding officer. So now let me tell you about the today's meeting. Today's meeting is like any other normal meeting which we conduct every week, which has been segregated into three parts. The first part is the prepared speech segment, wherein a set of speakers would present their prepared speeches. The second part is the table topic segment, wherein a member or a guest would be invited here and would be given a topic wherein they have to give an impromptu speech on the topic given. And the table topic master will let you know more about it when we move to the table topic segment. And the third segment is the evaluation segment, which is one of the most important segment, because wherein a panel of experienced evaluators will give their feedback on the speech they are evaluating and overall meeting as a whole. And as we believe, feedback certainly helps not just the speaker but every one of us to improve and to learn and improve ourselves in the domain of public speaking, in every aspect of public speaking. That is what the evaluation session is, one of the most important sessions. And to lead the evaluation session, we have the general evaluator. And today's general evaluator is someone whom I personally admire for his mastery and his fluency over the language. And most of the time I've seen his articulation of his expression is always at its best. So let's hear him out about the evaluation process. Please put your hands together for Toastmaster Karthik.
Thank you for your very kind words. As the general evaluator, my role will be to evaluate the proceedings of the meeting. Today's theme is that of drawing lessons from the world of cricket. I feel that sports is one of those elements which teaches us how to handle a loss in life. Many people look at respect as a loss, or they are either in despair and they quit and leave a particular event that they have taken a stride into. But sports teaches us that there is always an element that you can come back into the game. So even if your run rate is down or if your wickets are down, you always have this area wherein you can come back into the sport. And I feel this is the respect that we need to give in our life, and this is one of those attitudes we need to have or develop, which helps us get through a lot of challenges that we face in life. Moreover, cricket is one of those sports which teaches us that you can't take anybody lightly. There was a time in Indian cricket wherein the 11 spots were filled with competent players, but today you cannot say that any competent player has a position that is permanent, because there are so many newer players coming every single day, and some of those players have better skills and talents than the ones who have played for a long time. So all that we can do is to respect and learn from others. There is nothing that is permanent in life, but what sports teaches us is that there is always an area wherein somebody can get back and face the challenge in a better possible way. With that being said, the role of the evaluator is to evaluate the proceedings of the meeting, and I also have 3 specialist roles under me to evaluate specific parts of the meeting, starting with the timer, that's Raja. If you can just describe your role.
One of the skills in Toastmaster is that we express in within a specific time. I'm a timer for today's meeting. My role and responsibility is to monitor the time of each speaker and each meeting segment. There are 3 speakers as Vijay told us that the first one is the first speech, and second one is table topic, and third one is the political speech. For the prepared speech, the time duration is 5 to 7 minutes. For the table topic, the time duration is 1 to 2 minutes. And for the political speech, the time duration is 2 to 3 minutes. And there are 3 different colors. This is qualifying time, and this is target time, and this is maximum time.
Thank you. The next role taker is the R counter's role, and this is played by Archer. If you can just give us a description.
I will take you notes. So now let me explain you the first one. As we all know that people often use clutch words and filler words like and all these clutch words make our speech less interesting. These injections disturb the flow of our speech. So today I will keep track of them. I will let people know how and I will let people know how they get at the end of the speech. Now, my second one is from a listener. So at the end of the meeting, I will be asking you all 2 to 3 questions. So I want each and every one of you please be attentive.
The last role taker is that of the dramatic, and that's played by Ron.
Hello everyone, I will be playing the role of a grammarian today, and basically my role is to be checking for the good and bad usage of grammar by everyone who will be talking today. So I'll be checking both of that, and also today's word of the day is definite, and the meaning is to be respectful, and usage is Indian cricket today is at a stage where even our rivals look up to us in deference. Thank you.
So with that, this is the overview of the evaluation segment, and I will come back with the final report at the end of the meeting. Now back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Karthik, for giving an outlining for the evaluation process. Now, moving on to the prepared speech segment, our first speech of the day is from a manual special occasion, and I would request Toastmaster Rahul, who will be the evaluator for this particular speech, to read out the guideline of the same.
The objectives of this project are to accept an award with dignity, grace, and sincerity, to acknowledge the prestige of the organization, and the time of it is 5 minutes. All of us will speak and
Thank you, Toastmaster Rahul. Our first speaker of the day would be receiving her award in Advanced Leadership Bronze, and today she will be talking about today's speech is about receiving awards. But before I would invite our speaker of the day, I would like to invite our past presiding officer, Toastmaster Saurabh, to give Toastmaster Pratibha the ALB award. That's Advanced Leadership Bronze Awards.
So, a very good evening, everyone. At the very start, I would like to thank Toastmasters International for conferring this award to me. And at the same time, I'd like to take this occasion as an opportunity to really share about what Toastmasters has meant for me. Now, what is Toastmasters? I get this question a lot of times. And more often than not, till a very long time, my response used to be, well, it's an organization that helps you build on your communication skills. To strange because the tagline reads Toastmasters International where leaders are made. Now I found that strange as well, but I sort of let it be, right? But today in hindsight, when I look at it, I realize why the tagline probably is where leaders are made. Now, if you look at communication or what communication is really is, it's not about what you have said, but it rather is about how your listener has received the message, right? Your communication is nothing but the response of the listener. And the response of the listener, to a very large extent, depends on not just the superfluous elements of communication that are essentially the structure and the content of your speech, or the grammar you use, or your vocal variety. It's way deeper. How effective your speech is depends on how rooted your speech is when it comes to how you nurture your relationships with the listener, how you empathize with the listener, and how you're able to manage disagreements with the listener at the same time ensuring you manage it with maturity, right? And that, if you look at it, are really elements of leadership rather than elements of just communication. And that's probably why the tagline is where leaders are made. So one of the things of, for example, Toastmasters is also that of ensuring that when a speaker is on stage, we have people paying attention to the speaker. Now, this is nothing but feedback we receive while delivering speeches or while somebody is on stage. You'll be wondering how something like this is contributing to you becoming a better leader, right? I received that a couple of times when I used to be there and looking at my phone. Till I realized that, oh my God, yes, when I'm up on here, on stage, and somebody there is looking at that phone, it is distracting me a lot. So the next time I said, okay, now moving forward, I'm not going to do that because I can empathize with the person, right? At the same time, being an evaluator, again, helped me develop empathy and develop critical thinking skills in me. As a speaker, sitting out there and receiving feedback made me more comfortable, realizing that yes, it is okay for people to criticize me. We call it areas of improvement. But for a person who I think I am like a really good speaker, and if this evaluator is thinking I didn't do my job that well, I probably take it as criticism. But over time, I learned to take it as criticism that will probably help me grow. Now, these are all elements of leadership and not just communication. So, one of the elements, one of the objectives that I was required to complete when it came to receiving the AFD award was that of playing a club officer's role. And I think I've been rather lucky because I've donned this hat not once, but multiple times. Now, let me boast a little bit here. I was this club's very first PP PR, public relations. And that was a great role that came onto me at that time because it helped me play on my strengths of grammar and of my hold in the English language. So it gave me the confidence to realize that yes, I can move on to uncharted territory of taking up, say, the role of a BP membership that I had no idea about. What did the BP membership role teach me? To week on week welcome guests, to make them feel welcome. Right? Not telling them, okay, come here, you can sit here, but going up to them and building a bond, even if they may be for just those 2 hours in the club, right? Moving on, I came to becoming the VP Education, and I do agree, everyone here who has played the role of the VP Education will realize this is probably the one role that takes so much of energy and time. Right? Week on week, it made me realize that I need to be accountable because if I don't start on a Monday, the Sunday's meeting will be a flop. And I'm really playing with the aspirations and hopes of so many club members. And I thought that was the toughest role till I became the president. And the president was the most challenging of all. Not because it required me to build on a skill, but it forced me, yes, it forced me to accept reality. To realize that I had fears in my life. For example, my biggest fear was not having perhaps enough trust in the team to delegate tasks. So I was literally doing helicopter monitoring, be it the PR's role, be it the education, the VP education's role. I needed to be aware of exactly what is happening every time. It was burning me out, and that is not the hallmark of a good leader. Now, I was lucky to be able to traverse all this, overcome these challenges, and become a better person. But that is only because of the support and the guidance I received, be it from Toastmaster Kaustubh or Toastmaster Chimukati, as mentors, or my very able team of Toastmaster Shubham, Toastmaster Nishta, and Toastmaster Nishan, Toastmaster Rahul, Toastmaster Saurabh, who have played the role of, they were part of my team, playing the role of the VP education, ready to break the norm, explore new things, ready to take PR to a new high altogether, or like I said, our current presidents or the presidents who have followed ever since then. That's made me realize why Toastmasters is not just about communication. And communication is just one tiny aspect of leadership. So, in conclusion, what I'd like to say is that I think I'm so lucky, really, to have gotten a chance to come week on week and meet like-minded people, grow every week, and at the same time help in the growth of other people. What better way? I walked in just wanting to be a better speaker, but today I've become a better leader. So I think I'm really privileged, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pratibha, for encouraging us. It will certainly help us to take up many such roles in future. And the next speech of the day is from a storytelling manual, and I would invite Toastmaster Rajiv to read out the guidelines for the speech.
The objective of the speech are to tell a portrait in an entertaining and enjoyable, especially to use vivid imagery and voice to enhance the day. Time is 6 to 8.
Thank you, Toastmaster Rajiv. Our next speaker of the day is attempting his advanced communication project on storytelling manual, and this is about a storytelling manual, and the speaker is a multi-dimensional person. I really admire him a lot. He has spent many years in the domain of software development. However, now he's started his own venture in the domain of meditation, and he is also a life coach. And please put your hands together for Toastmaster Saurabh. Oh yeah. And also, our speaker has requested all of us to pretend to be engineers, preferably computer engineers with the experience of 0 to 4 years. So please pretend that you all are engineers having experience of 0 to 4 years of experience. Okay, thank you.
Good evening, everybody. I'll just set some context. I have to deliver this training to some engineers who have 0 to 4 years of experience. They work in a software company. That's why I'm asking you to pretend to be software engineers, and it is a requirement in the project as well. And I will be narrating a story from mythology. There is no intent to be disrespectful to anybody. It's just my take and the story that I'm going to tell you. So if we are ready, I can begin. Good evening once again, everybody. Today I'm going to tell you the story of this man who lived long ago. We don't know exactly how long because dates are disputed. His name was Sudama. Does that name sound familiar to anyone here? Okay. And he had a best friend in school. His name was Krishna. Does that name sound familiar to anybody? Can you raise your hand if you know that name? Okay. So it's a familiar story. Now what happens is that Sudama and Krishna, they belong to the same educational institution, and because Krishna studies there, it's very likely it's one of the best institutions at that time. They call it the Gurukul system, like we have IITs. So I think it's fully residential and they both live together, they hang out together, they're supposed to be inseparable. And the same teacher teaches them everything. Like these days, you guys would probably like to be experts in Python, JavaScript and AngularJS. So the subjects in those days, according to the industry of that time, it was different. So you had to be good at politics, you had to be good at weaponry, and some of it you had to be good at chanting and all those things. So everybody studied everything and they became good. But there was one problem that Sudama used to face. He was a really good guy because Krishna is like supposed to be the benchmark of good guys or very wise people. And he and Sudama were really good friends, so they got along very, very nicely. But Sudama had a problem that he was not able to contribute. He used to feel that I am from a very poor background, and he was from a very poor background. Maybe he got into a merit list and got some scholarship, but once he got there, he felt that, oh, my food is not good enough for other people. What I contribute is not good enough. Just like in a software company, you come in new and you don't have any experience, and you hear people talking Java, Angular, this, that, and you feel, what can I say? Maybe I should just keep quiet. And so there's this round table where the meeting is taking place, and you'll quietly like sink into your chair and wait for the meeting to get over. There's an incident from his life that kind of describes what happens. And contribution can be in any place. Just imagine that your manager or some friend says, hey, I'm struggling with this problem, do you have an opinion? And you feel, I don't know if my opinion is good enough, whatever he thinks I'm a fool, I'm not going to say anything. So you keep quiet, and that's exactly what happens. So Sudama and Krishna, they've gone for a walk in the forest. Both of them are damn hungry, and Sudama's got some food with him. But it's poor people's food. I don't know what it is, and he feels very embarrassed to contribute. Whereas this guy is like dying of hunger and he wants food, but Sudama doesn't offer the food to him. And when Krishna is going to sleep, Sudama takes that food and he eats it, and he's like really embarrassed, like, oh my god, I can't share with anybody. But what happens is that in the organizational setup, Sudama has not contributed, even though he could have contributed. It's like a big misconception we have that we feel I don't have something to contribute, but in every situation, if you think about it deeply enough, you will find something that you can give which is going to benefit somebody. You do not judge your contribution, just do it. Unfortunately, Sudama does not have that wisdom and insight, and he doesn't contribute. And throughout his career, later on also, he does not contribute. And what happens to such people? When your skills start getting diluted. If you felt shy in the beginning, now you feel shyer and shyer, and you can't speak at all, and Sudama's life is in big trouble. Krishna, on the other hand, takes on tough assignments. So there's once this really bad bug comes in their system, it's called Sheshnar. It's a snake. So what happens is that people think, oh my god, I don't want to get into this, it's a thankless job, I'm going to burn out, and this is going to take a lot of time, a lot of energy, so I'm going to do it. But Krishna is a contributor, and friends, this is the basis of interpersonal communication. Are you contributing to your organization? Krishna has this skill set, so he goes and he takes a playful approach. He what's the worst that can happen? So he starts dancing with the snake, and in some way that snake gets subdued. So now Krishna has got a pit on his shoulders, and everybody's like, okay, this dude knows how to get things done. And other things happen in his life where he takes on tough assignments, and then everybody thinks he's got a really good reputation. He goes back and joins his family business. He becomes like this big time consultant, so all the things and all they come to him and say, hey, we're thinking of building a board. What do you think about this? Now, because he's taken on those tough assignments and given his contribution, he has experience. So he says, hey, you do this here, you do that there, and Krishna becomes more and more glorious. In the meantime, Sudama has become very, very poor. He's not gotten promoted. His salary was cut whenever there were layoffs. His name used to be almost on top of the list. And then the one thing happens that's going to happen in everybody's career, a bad manager comes. Okay, so this guy is like the new feudal lord according to those times. We just call him a bad manager. What do bad managers do? They don't have empathy. They don't know what other people are going to go through. And so this bad manager decides that, hey, this Sudama fellow is like really irritating me, he's not contributing, I'm going to get rid of him. So there's a power struggle that ensues, and obviously Sudama does not have enough. At this time the stakes have gone up because he has a wife and kids to feed. So So he's like, okay, what am I going to do now? And his wife tells him, listen, you need to leverage your network. Maybe you've not contributed in organization, but you did contribute to Krishna's life by being a genuine friend. When he became a king and this big time consultant, you didn't go to asking things, but you need to go. And for the first time in his life, he says, I can't go empty-handed, I have to give something. Very, very important lesson. Can you all repeat this with me? I have to give something. I have to give something. Even if it's the lowest quality rice available anywhere. Okay? I have to give something. Can you please repeat that? I have to give something. Even if it's just a formatting change in the code that you want, you have to give something. So now a change has come over and he says, okay, I have something to give. Same situation, he goes there, he comes into the opulent palace and he's like, oh, what do I do? But in his heart there is that thing, I have to give something. And he gives Krishna, even though that same embarrassment is there, that same everything is there, but he's learned a valuable lesson. Please make contributions. It's okay if you can only give rice today. That is how your capacity to give increases. As your capacity to give increases, your influence in the organization increases, then nobody is going to care about can he speak good English or can he articulate his words well. Contribution is the basis of all your relationships. So now he gives it to Krishna, and Krishna is a contributor. So contributors know what it takes to give. They've overcome their embarrassment, they've updated their skill set, and now one piece of advice from them is like really, really good for everybody. So Krishna takes that very graciously and he says, yeah, you're my friend and all that, and they have a good time together. And Krishna wants to, it just so happens that there's a requirement at that time. So there's a requirement at that time that he needs to set an example. Guys, just because I've become a good consultant doesn't mean everybody can come and ask for money. There needs to be some sincerity. You need to care about it. It's not like, oh, okay, let's just take his army and go away, and we don't care about this guy. Now, Sudama has that quality of sincerity. So Krishna wants to set an example. So he tells his friend, okay, you go back. And he knows what the problem is. Most people who are givers, there's another thing with givers that you get used to understanding what people want. And he understands that Sudama needs some financial assistance. And he says, okay, you go back, I'll make the transfer, you don't worry. And they didn't have wire transfer at that time, but they had this other thing which he doesn't even tell them because he understands Sudama's organization, and he probably gets in touch with Sudama's wife, and they make arrangements. So by the time Sudama comes back, there's like this big palace and all those things. Basically, those are metaphors. So when Sudama comes back and he sees this opulence, he starts wondering, okay, what did I do? What changed within me? When you read mythology, they talk about things like karma and all that. You don't need to understand that. The one thing that this guy really learned was that I need to contribute. Whatever I can contribute today in my organization, in my family, in my personal relationships, I need to contribute. Can we all repeat that once? I need to contribute. Thank you very much.
Toastmasters Saurabh for making us realize that we need to contribute in a language that we all are comfortable with, hopefully. And now the next speaker of the day, or the next speech of the day is from, it's a second project from the level 1 of Pathway Guideline, and I would invite Toastmaster Chinmay to read out the guideline of the same.
So for this speech, the purpose of the speech is for the member to apply the feedback which was received in the first speech and implement that in the second speech.
Time is 5 to 7 minutes. Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster Chinmay. Our next speaker of the day is also a multi-talented person, and I really admire her. She is also one of the member of PSAI, that is Professional Speaker Associations of India. I also had visited recently, and she's also a theatre artist, and today she just came up from playing a role in theatre. So please welcome Toastmaster Delsa.
Good evening, everybody. Today I'm here to speak to you about something all of you would have heard multiple times. We all hear, when we are feeling yeah, just let it go, forgive and forget. But we all know it's easier said than done. It's nice to listen, but it's actually tough to do practically. So let me tell you of an incident from my life which taught me how to forgive and forget. It so happens that in my high school, and I went to a convent, we had a very wonderful teacher. She was a physics and biology teacher, and she was called Mrs. Matthias. Alright, what's the name again? Mrs. Matthias. Now, Mrs. Matthias happened to be a strict disciplinarian. She was extremely strict with an acerbic tongue and a killer wit. No one, trust me, no one in school wanted to get in her way. She was extremely witty and she could literally cut you to size with her tongue. But the good thing about Mrs. Matthias was she was actually an excellent teacher. She was the person who made me fall in love with physics. Physics, as you all know, is a tough subject, right? Not many children love it, but she actually made me like it. So while the entire school, the general opinion about her is everybody actually hated her and disliked her, I secretly admired her. I never really had the guts to tell anybody that, but secretly she was my favorite teacher. Now let me tell you a little about myself way back in high school. I used to be the class mimic. So every time there was a free period, guess who used to be the entertainment? I would come up out on stage or the teacher's platform and mimic all our teachers in class. Now one day, it so happens we had a free period and guess who I was mimicking? Mrs. Matthias. And Mrs. Matthias happens to walk in. You can only imagine what ensued. The entire class stood, held their heads down in shame. I was the most shameful of all, of course. I got a tongue lashing from Mrs. Matthias, so did the rest of the class. But that day what hurt me most was that I had actually made fun and hurt the teacher that I secretly admired the most. That really, really hurt me somewhere. And I, for one, decided I don't think I'll ever be able to attend Mrs. Matthias' class again. For me, it was just a no-no, but this is school, this is not college, you can't bunk at will, right? So what happened was, incidentally, the next day, I was walking down an empty corridor, and guess who was in front of me? Matthias. The minute I spotted her, I slowed down my pace, because I did not want to cross her. She did not know who was behind her, but she saw the shadow. She saw the shadow and she stopped, noticing that this child had suddenly stopped walking. She turned around and she obviously gauged why. But she turned around to me and said, "Get on with it, child. That was yesterday. Today is another day." I couldn't believe it. All that came to my mind was, let me just scamper away and get out of her sight. Nothing else mattered at that time, and those words really did not sink in. But then came Mrs. Matthias' physics class. Now how do I escape? I'm sitting right there, but luckily for me, I was among the second last benchers. So I made it my mission not to come into her line of sight. So I tried to duck my way every possible way. But Mrs. Matthias, being Mrs. Matthias, noticed that. And she said, "Dilshan, read the next paragraph." Now there was no escaping. I had to stand up, face the class, face her, look into her eyes and read. And she actually praised me for it. I couldn't believe it. Yesterday, here was this lady reprimanding me for having made fun of her, for doing something so bad, and she today had forgiven, forgotten and actually encouraged me. That was a lesson I carried through my life. It was much later that her words sunk in. That was yesterday. Today is another day. Let me put it in another way. How many of you watch weightlifting competitions? Okay, 2, 3. Alright. So those of you who don't, let me tell you, whether it's clean and jerk or snatch, when a weightlifter lifts a weight, he or she has a qualifying time. After the weight is lifted, first it has to be a clean lift. After that, after the qualifying time, the judge signals and only then does the weightlifter throw the weight down. Now what does this have to do with forgive and forget? What I am trying to tell you here is, even the strongest men and women cannot lift a certain weight beyond a few seconds. And what do we, mere mortals, not as strong as them, do with our lives? We carry the baggage of our guilt, our shame, our hatred, our anger with us all our lives. We refuse to drop that weight. So be like a professional weightlifter next time. If you have to lift the weight, lift it. But do know your qualifying time. It could be a year, it could be a day, it could be a week or a month. But learn when to drop it. Now, as I said earlier, it's easier said than done, right? So let me give you a practical tip as to how exactly you drop that weight. What you must try to do is live in the present, but talk of the incident in the past. If someone has hurt you badly, don't say, I carry that hurt. I'm very hurt by what she did. Say that this incident happened. It hurt me then, but over a period of time, I have learned to get over it. I have learned to get over it. So therefore, live in the present, but talk about it in the past. Now let me sum up by saying, forgive and forget is definitely easier said than done. But what's the point of carrying and lugging that weight around on your shoulders? Not even the strongest men and women can do it. Then why should we? So, remember Mrs. Matthias? Yesterday was yesterday. Today is another day. Be a professional weightlifter. Know your qualifying time and then learn to drop the weight. And lastly, live in the present, but talk about it in the past. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Delsa, for sharing your views. It will certainly help every one of us. Thanks a lot. This ends the prepared speech segment. And Toastmaster Pragya had the voting link, sir.
My time actually, according to that, should be 9 minutes.
9 minutes.
So within 9 to 30 seconds, please call.
So it's qualified.
I think I will try.
Three of them qualified.
And
It was 5 to 7 minutes or it was
It was 9 minutes we brought
7
it
to
down.
9. 7 to 9.
7 to 9 minutes?
Original
So if it is within, what was the time for it?
I think
9 minutes 36 seconds.
26 hours.
it's qualified. It's qualified. Okay, fine. Let's move forward. Okay, so this ends the prepared speech segment. Now we come to the most thrilling and exciting part of the day, that is the table topic. And to take it forward, I would invite Toastmaster Pragya with the table topic master, and to tell you about the table topic master of the day. She is one of the energetic person of the club. I've seen her playing various roles, and many a times I have never seen her saying no. Whenever you ask her to take a role at the last moment also, she takes up cordially. So with that, she has learned a lot, and I can see that she's already stood up to take up her role. So please invite Toastmaster Pragya.
Good evening, everyone, once again. Do clap for me. Okay, once again. So, this is the starting of a table topic section. So, do you want to know what it is, or I should just start? Right. So, in this section, I would be calling one person at a time on a stage and giving a topic. I will give in a topic, and on that topic you have to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. Okay? And so if you're thinking to give a really good say goodbye speech at your organization, then you must pay attention on this section. Okay? So before moving forward, I would like to call all the non-voting members to stand up, please. Non-voting Toastmasters, please. Yeah. So please count 1 to 1. 1. So whoever, so please come forward, or just evaluate each other, whoever said consecutively 1 and 2. Okay? So everyone got their peer evaluators? So I would like to request all the peer evaluators to please pay attention to the peer speech. Okay? So firstly, I would like to call Toastmaster Anjali on the stage. Please. Topic for you is, should Wi-Fi be free on all the public places? Should Wi-Fi be free on all the public places?
This topic actually reminds me of a post I read a few days ago where someone was like, if Wi-Fi grew on trees, then we'd start saving it. And somebody commented below it saying, well, it just gives oxygen, right? It doesn't matter. Should Wi-Fi be available in public spaces? Yes and no. Yes, because, well, most of our things are on the internet, so it would make it easier for us to access all of that. And no, because then it's kind of comes into the whole question of everybody's always looking at their mobile phones and stuff. So mostly I say yes, because we are in the age of like wireless communication and all of that stuff. And we do spend a lot of time on the internet, we access a lot of information on the internet, and that's why I do believe that Wi-Fi should be made in all public spaces. But at the same time, I feel like if it becomes something like that, a lot of companies are going to start capitalizing on it, and it's going to be like mess. So
Next speaker I would like to call here is Toastmaster Akshay. Topic for you is, will robots reduce or increase the employability? Will robots reduce or increase the employability?
So topic for me is, will robots increase or decrease employability? Yeah. So I believe this is something that has been going on in the internet nowadays, that a lot of false news that and people getting worried about whether AI will take away the jobs or not. But there's one thought that come to me sometime back and I'd like to share it with you. So for the longest time, when cars were being produced, we had robotic arms that used to help them, right? And so for a lot of cases, usually robots are enablers, and they don't actually take away the actual job, but they help people, focus on things which are more important. One example is I read recently that baseball is very popular in the US, and recently, I think this last week, there was this first match ever where the umpire was helped by a robotic robotic umpire. And the thing to note here is this robotic umpire did not replace the actual umpire, right? Whereas in baseball, what happens is there are a lot of calls which are kind of unnecessary. So all these unnecessary things are done by this robotic arm, and things which are more important can be done by the umpire himself. So I feel AI is not going to replace the human touch, and it's just going to be an enabler. So it's not going to take away jobs. That's what I think.
Next Toastmaster I would like to call Toastmaster Jitesh. So topic for you is, are printed books better than e-books? Are printed books better than e-books?
Thank you, and good evening to Toastmasters and guests. Are printed books better than e-books? It doesn't matter whether it's a printed book or an e-book. If you like a book, you will read it. If you don't like it, you will never read it. Even if it is a book full of gold with silver or what else, if you don't like it, you're not going to read. And if you like a book, you will find it in internet wherever it is. So now the question is, taking the question to the next level is the accessibility of the books more important than their physical form? And in that case, I would say yes, e-books are very important, because many times there are a couple of reasons which make e-books much more accessible and useful. The number one is the cost. Many times the original book costs a lot,
So ebooks is a savior there. Second thing is availability. Now I don't know, there are very less places that you get some good books nowadays, and everything is in ebooks. So that is the second thing. And again, coming on to the environmentalist thing, the papers are coming from woods and we should not cut it, and then the ebooks will obviously having the upper hand. So coming on to this, it always depends. But yeah, in the age where information is everywhere, then we can have free Wi-Fi in public places also, and there are a lot of, so when it comes to accessibility, and if you like a book, I'd say prefer to go with the ebook in your Kindle. That gives you equal, that gives the same experience as you have with the older books. But the paper sometimes with the nostalgia of the smell and the feel of that, many of us would still like to go for that, but anytime in the given age, I think ebooks will be the winner. Thank you.
Next Toastmaster, I would like to call Toastmaster Regan. So, you are vegetarian, non-vegetarian?
Non-vegetarian.
Okay, so the topic for you is having meat is good for health. Having meat is good for health.
So good evening everyone. The topic is having meat is good for health. So there are two parts to it. So having meat is a source of protein, and many athletes and many people who do lots of physical exercise take it as a source of protein, and hence it is good for them and for their metabolism as such. But on the negative side, as it is known that human body is not made for specifically eating meat, and it is made more for specifically eating a vegetarian type of food, because as we know, non-veg food takes a lot more time to digest, and also there is an environmental factor, though it is not a topic, but there is also a lot of environmental consequence if we eat meat, because it contributes to a lot of carbon cycle, carbon footprint generation. Yeah, I think, and also nowadays the meat is produced in factories. Most of the meat is produced not naturally, but in factories, or not factories exactly, but in farms, which is unnatural. And those types of meats are known to be not that healthy, and it has some unhealthy effects as well as some medicines or injections as well, which is harmful. So yeah, that's it.
Next Toastmaster, I would like to call here is Toastmaster Nitesh. Topic for you is, should employees be rewarded with bonus for cycling or working with the bird? Should employees be awarded with a bonus for cycling or working with the bird?
Should employees be rewarded? That's the first part. With this, I completely agree. It doesn't matter cycling or anything else. If a person is working, nicely in the organization, doing their work, they're fine, and they're attached to their work, and they're giving their 100%, then there is no second question that they should not be rewarded. Now the question is how they should be rewarded. There can be various ways. I mean, there are people who want encouragement. There are people who will be motivated with let's say change in designation. There are people for whom designation doesn't matter, money matters. So what is the end pay package they are getting at the end of that is important. So those things are important rather than thinking in what should be the reason to get an employee a kind of award. So main reason should be the kind of work they are doing, whether they are honest with their work or not, whether they are giving their 100% or they have integrity during the work or not. Those things are important. Most of the time, most of the employees, as we all know, they leave the organization. It's not because of the policies, but because of the immediate ecosystem maybe because of the managers or their peers, and because of some of the politics which happens, which they are not very comfortable. So those things are more important to take care of rather than thinking what apart from work they are doing, which is very, very important. So end of the day, bottom line is we should reward our employees if they are working hard, and we should ensure that they should remain in the company, they should remain in the organization for as long as possible. Thank you.
Next Toastmaster I would like to call here is Toastmaster Rahul. The topic for you is should teachers pass a test after every decade to review their skills? Should teachers pass a test after every decade to review their skills?
Good evening, everyone. Should teachers pass a test after every decade to review their skills? It's convenient to have a test which makes them like a requirement for them to pass to see how qualified they are. In most cases, the teachers are qualified enough that they will pass it. In some cases where teachers are just by-hearting the things, maybe it's a good reminder and taking them back to the beginner's mind of thinking from a beginner's perspective and writing it and putting themselves in the shoes of the student. So I think it's always a good idea to switch places. Like for example, when the person is, let's say a sportsman, he's practicing on the field, he's in one set of frame of mind. When he retires and becomes a coach, he has to think from another frame of mind. So as long as you get to do both sides of the thing, you get a holistic picture of the entire thing and you become a better sportsman overall. In Toastmasters also, as someone earlier said, that being a speaker is one thing, but once you become an evaluator and have to notice the different areas of the speech, that's when you get a holistic approach. So a person, many of the experienced people I've seen in my college, they have a lot of PhDs and a lot of credentials. But I feel sometimes the way they approach the teaching is very different and they have lost touch with the beginner's mind and the mind in which their core students are. So I think it's a good idea to have a test like this once in maybe 5 years or 10 years, which is so that people can actually experience what it is to be like a student, and that way they feel young and recall old memories as well. So that's my thoughts on it.
Next Toastmaster I would like to call is Toastmaster Vikram. Topic is to vote or not to vote? To vote or not to vote?
Good evening, everyone. To vote or not to vote? Obviously, to vote. Let me get back to when I was in Pune 2 years back. So at the time, what I vote, actually after 18 years we have to renew for the vote. But at the time I was maybe okay, I'm not able to focus on that. I just playing with friends and going to home, come back and just learning, that's it. I'm not aware of this voting and so on. Then when I come into 21 years, people are voting. People were asking me whether you have a vote or not. I said no. I said, look at your face, you are 21 years old and you are not even voting to any this thing. Then I started realizing that. So I started first I applied for my vote. And that I realized that so when I got up, I have when I started getting to apply the vote, then a lot of people are there. Then I have seen the responsibilities which I have taken to come and take the voting and all. And after that, after finally I got my vote, then there is elections of next year. When I started going to see the people who are taken on, and I have selected for the election commission that I have to be a employed, not an employee, just role play in a voting game. Then the people are eager to take the things and to coming the vote and doing the take it as a vote. I have seen the massive responsibilities that people are coming, like take the responsibility that I'm the person who has to come here, has to put it. Actually, there is a lot of story, but I'm not able to tell this now. So that's it. Yeah, what is very important for every person.
Next, I would like to call Toastmaster Majid. The topic for you is cash should be abundant completely. Cash should be abundant completely.
Yeah, good evening, Toastmaster and dear. Yeah, it is I think difficult thing. So I try to explain more and more because I have not time to explain more over time. So it will be the time so there is 2 or 3 minutes. So first of all, I think it is a not perfect band case if I bend money or case. I think people so struggle on the day. That's why. So I think it is a not good way to for every people for every person. So I think because nowadays it's caseless life. I send myself the money to transfer to others pay phone or Google Pay. It is very useful for people. And
Next speaker I would like to call here is Toastmaster Bhavna. Topic for you is calling people fat or skinny isn't bad, but making fun of it is. Calling people fat or skinny isn't bad, but making fun of it is.
So this is a bit of a controversial topic, I can say, because there are many people who are defensive with respect to this topic. But so I will tell you my views on this. I think that it is not something that should not be said, because if okay, so there can be a positive and negative part of this. So at least in my case, I'm someone who's trying to lose weight, and I'm trying all sorts of things to reduce by dieting, different types of diets and all of that. So when I'm hearing people tell me that, okay, you're fine, like, why are you doing so much? Don't do that. So I feel that, okay, yeah, actually all right, I mean, I can have that cake, or that I'm getting that freedom. So, I mean, I'm not saying that people should be called fat or thin. Most of us, we can't do much about it, and it is how we are made and all that. But yeah, so a little bit, if people are like, okay, be conscious of that, or little if there is not in a negative sense, but I think it still helps in some way. And I know many people are against this and they say fat shaming is bad and all. But I think in the right sense, it still works, and it's some kind of motivation for me at least. So that's my perspective on this, and yeah, that's about it.
Next person I would like to call here is Toastmaster Raja. So, topic for you is your most memorable meal. Your most memorable meal. Yeah.
Being most memorable meal, I would say that I'm from down south, so I can say the South Indian meal is, I cannot appear this. There are many things like vegetable rice and sambar. There are many items, and moreover, I do not eat much of the market. So, and moreover, this something is very difficult, easy to digest. I mean, the digestion time is very less compared to all other because when in my home I used to work in the field, and the field is farming. I'm basically from a farmer family, so I go to the farm and I do something. In the morning I eat at 6 o'clock, then I eat at another time, at 10 o'clock. 3 times or 4 times I eat before in the afternoon. So because the food will be digest very quickly, so that I used to eat 3-4 times extra than here. But here I used to eat only 3 times. If I am in my native, I can say I will eat more times than here. That's all. And moreover, finally, I like South Indian meal compared to all other
Next person I would like to call here is Toastmaster Achal. So the topic is recycling is the only way to save our planet. Recycling is the only way to save our planet. Recycling is one of the ways. It's one of the ways to save our planet. We are wasting we are wasting so much of water. We are wasting so much of paper, water every day. Every day when we are making when we are ordering from Zomato, we are using plastic. We are wasting every day, and it's we are just throwing our paper. We are just throwing our plastic plates on the plastic containers every day, and it's harming our planet. In a few weeks back, one of our Toastmasters said animals are eating that. These are dumping into water, and animals are eating that. Dumping into water, animals are eating that, and the same thing we are eating. It's just harming our planet. So we need to. So instead of using all these things, we should go back. We should go to a safer. We should go back to. We should use we should use paper things, paper like things like paper pipes or not plastic, but we can use paper plates, paper pipes, which can be recycled. So that's it. So is there any role playing member left to speak? Yeah, please. There should be stricter punishment for drunk driving. There should be stricter punishments for drunk driving.
Punishment is a very good thing. But if we are not, if our government is not giving a stricter punishment to the drunk driver, this is a very good thing. Whether they are get free from this law, they will drive crash too. Then other things, they will harm other people like this. Then so many crimes will be happening in this scenario. The reason is that they are not following any law and any rules and regulations. The reason is that they have deep influence. They might be some of the ministers and politicians and like that. This should be media control first. Then if we did like that, it means if the officers came under the pressure of the influence of that person, we don't practice our law. This kind of things will happen. Other things we should create awareness among the people. Whoever is going to drink and drive, this kind of thing will happen. Other things, through this, our law will be weaker. When persons are given under influence of that time, our law will be also sorry. Just like this kind of.
Is there any guest who would like to come here and speak? So the topic for you is, should adoption be available for single parents as well? Should adoption be available for single parents as well?
So, should adoption be available for single parents? So, obviously, it depends on the economic condition of the parent also. I mean, so there's a trade-off, right? Like, even if the person wants to adopt, or whether his finances permit him or not, that's one thing. The second thing is there's a psychological impact on the child. If it's raised by a single parent, whether it's by a dad or a mom. So, that will obviously impact the way the child grows, and that may show up in the future also. So, it would be better if a proper evaluation is done, some sort of scientific evaluation is done on both the parent and the child to assess, if this is feasible or not.
Is there any other guest who would like to come? So, topic for you is, couples should live together before getting married. Couples should live together before getting married.
Alright, I agree with that statement. I think it's important. Can you hear me? So I think it's important as life is moving faster and faster, our lives are getting disrupted. Our lives, versus our previous generations, are superbly different. Yeah, our mindsets are different. Our environment is different. The people we meet are culturally very different. We are much more exposed to the world, right? Than our previous generations were. So I do believe that I think it's healthy for the couple to know each other, because ultimately if you have to, live together in an institution called matrimony or marriage in the long term, it's important to be compatible at all levels, right? So yes, I agree with that. However, there has to be a sense of balance where you draw the line on what to do with the groundwork, to put the ground rules and guidelines in place, so that from a societal perspective, you don't go overboard, and you have those issues with health, hygiene, and diseases coming up, when anything goes out of control. So balance is the word.
Is there any role-playing member who would like to? Yes. So topic for you is, what can be done in order to control population? What can be done in order to control population? Controlling population. It's today's world, when we're discussing population, the world's population has crossed 7 billion. All resources, including water, food, has become scarce. We are struggling. We recently saw the struggle in Chennai, where people had to buy tankers to get the water. And today, population is one of the major reasons why we are having these challenges. I think there is a need. Many countries have taken initiatives to control population. China, for example, had for many years one-child policy. India has always encouraged having only 2 children. Though India never had a stricter law, but yeah, it has helped us to control population. China now is seeing benefits of that in terms of having better quality of life, better livelihood, better living standards. India also, because of now the chart in terms of growth has kind of stagnated instead of peaking the population, and we are seeing the quality of life, the living standard of people is improving. On the other hand, if I talk about Western countries, especially European countries like Denmark and all, where the population is going down, they are finding it very hard for people who are aging to support having a younger population to support those aging population. So these older people will be on pension, whereas the younger people would not be there who can earn and support the economy. So there is a pro and con for both. The countries who have very high population and lack of resources should be controlling the population, and
have zoos and aquariums so that we can see the wildlife little closer. So is that a selfish wish of human being? Yes, it is a selfish wish of human being. So if you see in that angle, yes, it should be closer. If we are put into a cage and if animals are having a debate, should this cage be open? Then the answer will be of course yes, there should not be any cage. In that angle, yes, it should be closed. But then there should have been some reason why this came up. So you are seeing that light very closely, which otherwise you will never have a chance. Of course, we have natural geography and stuff like that. You are able to see now. But when there was a time, probably things were not really closer. Able to see closer things were not possible. Not only that, probably the animals which are almost getting extinct, they are being properly bred in the captures, which is a part of the reason. So, but then, so it's all about how well these aquariums or zoos are done. See the case of Benargata. See the ways here, but bigger ways. I see in one leopard the way it runs around there. So he really wants to try his speed limit, but then how it goes, it just ends there. So probably into a better, bigger one, so that they can really test what they are, whereas it helped them and probably it helped the animal and the fish were covered and invented.
So this brings us to the end of the table topic section. So remember, before we start, we created a peer into groups. Remember that? So it's a time to evaluate each other. So you all will be having 2 minutes of time to evaluate each other. 1 minute for one person and another minute for the second person. And you all please stand first. Yeah, whosoever had peer able, please stand first. So your time starts now. And yeah.
it was indeed a pleasure having this particular debate topic session. Now we come to the last segment of today's meeting, that is the evaluation session, which certainly helps, as we all know that it certainly helps every one of us, not just the speaker, every one of us to learn and improve our skills of public speaking. And let's hear it out the general evaluator. So let's invite our general evaluator, Toastmaster Karthik.
So this is the last but not the least segment as far as the meeting is concerned. So we'll start off with the individual evaluations of the speakers, and let me invite Rahul on the stage for the first speaker. Please put your hands together.
Good evening everyone, I'm Toastmaster Karthik. First of all, congrats on receiving your ALB award. That's the first thing I like to say. So there are many interesting things about your particular speech. The most important thing which I really liked in your speech was that you used appropriate body language to the context. You had a power pose, that is, you're standing in one place, form. That's when you receive an award, you can't keep moving and using stage, because you have to stand your ground and look more powerful. So that's one thing we did. You had very good vocal variety and emphasis on various words which you want to highlight. So that was done really well. You had solid eye contact with all sides of the audience and you kept it quite balanced. Second thing I really liked about your speech was that you described your personal experience and the impact it had on you. So for example, you spoke about how you learned to deal with criticism, and that was an important lesson you learned. Then you also spoke about the impact different roles had on you, and also the people who had an impact on you. For example, the mentors, the people in your team, and different things. So these are different things which you covered, which was done well. Also, like your ending was very encouraging and inspiring to the audience, I believe. And it encouraged them also to aspire to take on some challenges like this and take on things which are outside their comfort zone. The third thing I really liked was that you spoke about the harder parts of public speaking. Like the easy parts are the structure, should be opening, body, conclusion, you should have vocal variety, body language. These are the easy parts. But you also went on the harder parts, which is like having a relationship with the audience and having empathy for the audience and structuring your own speech with that. So that was also very insightful and something which you did well, because you have had that experience personally and you have shared it, your insights with the audience. So that is a valuable thing which I learned. So coming to the suggestion which I had, the first suggestion would be to go deep and shallow rather than wide and narrow. For example, you spoke about different roles you had taken up. So like PPPR, PP membership, and president, all these different roles. So although you went very wide and gave us a very shallow experience of what all you had done, a little more effective way to have an impact and long-lasting impact to the audience could have been by sharing some incidents of few of the roles. Like some incident which you had struggled and how you had overcome it. So people actually get to experience what you have experienced. Because you are at a position which you as an authority. We do not know what you have experienced. So probably going into this side would have helped us gain a little more emotional context and actually see and feel the things you felt when you were in those positions. So that is one suggestion I had, that would go have a little more impact on the audience. Second suggestion I had would be to try, it's just a suggestion, you can try doing it in a different context. So we all come here in Toastmasters. It is very easy for us to talk about Toastmasters and take examples in Toastmasters. So what would have been more interesting and challenging for you would be to try, as if you're giving it to some third-party audience. So you have to make up a situation that's a little more challenging, so that you can try, because you're already a very experienced speaker and that will put you a little more crucial position. So these are some suggestions I had. Overall, I really enjoyed your speech. You have very good vocal variety, you have very good grammar, and I always look forward to your speeches. Thank you.
Thank you for that evaluation. I think you have covered all the important points as far as the project is concerned. I have nothing specific to add as far as this project is concerned. So good job to the speaker and the evaluator. The second speaker to come on the stage was Saurabh, and to evaluate this project, we have Rajiv. Rajiv, you can come on the stage.
spirit, the real idea of a Purana or a epic and connect with the contemporary and modern life what we are living. So big hand for you. So probably we all were familiar with the story of Sudama, also known as Ujela, and the Krishna story. That story was much popular, but an angle to that, like this what he explained, that was amazing. And I really believe people like you, the storytellers like you, are the one writing their things down to understand, go to the depth of the stories what we have, the Puranas what we have, which have much deeper meaning. Understand that, decipher it, and convey it in the contemporary manner what we think about. So a big, you have done a great justice to that one. And the way you made people tell, I need to contribute. So the crux of that story, you put into that, I need to contribute, and how we important to the connected to a computer science student, and see how we connected the Gurukul days with the modern schools, how the learnings what we get there, how we can affect it, how it will really impact your career. That has amazingly come out. And especially, I need to contribute the way you get people to repeat that one. That really made it sink into the people of the core idea of what it was. So that was amazingly done. And the great speaker you are, the way your voice, all the contact, the confidence, everything was amazingly done. But just to give you probably one of the points which you can improve. One thing I am sure you are not really practiced, even in this. That was, this is the previous week, so it is recommended that you practice. So you had an issue of the timing, 1 minute 68, and went up to 9. I'm sure if you practice, probably not even once, practice once more. That is something which will be really motivation for others also. Even though I am sure probably even experimenting, being the speaker you are, being the experience, you made not the experience, but probably practice once could have been useful. And one more thing is that, of course, the story was really great, you were able to convey. But one thing, as this is storytelling, I felt somewhere, you have really conveyed the thing, but I felt the emotion was missed. This was in a way a bit of, see, when you connect with the emotion, it goes to the depth that you know that for a long time. Of course, you explain, you connected it in the theoretical analysis level. If you explain the way Sudama and Krishna went to the forest at that time, how deeply Krishna really wanted that. If you had explained bit of emotion and connected here, probably should have seen much more that way. So I think, I'm sure probably you can take some of these points and great points. Thank you.
Thank you for that evaluation. I agree with most of the points mentioned in the project as well as the evaluations. With respect to your project today, what I felt was that the conclusion was that we need to give more. But what I felt was that the message should have come far ahead in the speech. Maybe in the beginning you could have started off with the message, and then you could have conveyed a story. For example, you could have asked the audience a question: how many of you contribute, or what is the ability that you have to influence people? And you could have started off from there. So I felt that this is the connection you could have formed with the audience, and then you could have conveyed the story that you had. Having said that, it was a great project. A big round of applause. The last person to speak on the stage was Dilshad, and to evaluate this project, let's have Chinmay on the stage. Please put your hands together.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Dilshad. You put me in a fix, Dilshad. For a second speech, it was really difficult for me to find loopholes in your speech. What a phenomenal speech that was. So, I believe in your previous speech, which was an icebreaker, it was much more about your life, and it was a speech where you had more to give. You had a lot of quotes, you had a lot of poetry involved, and a lot of story to tell. But the feedback that you applied from the previous speech, wherein this time you had lot many things to take back from the audience. There were lot many instances where you, in fact, asked the audience a couple of questions, and you were engaged with them, contrary to your previous speech. So the objective of this speech was pretty much, it was implemented. One thing, I think you might be able to relate with this analogy. So when you fly a plane and it dips down, you pull it up again, and it dips down and you pull it up again. At regular intervals, that was something you did, which was very good, very good. Like it was exceptional when you made the audience repeat the name of your teacher at appropriate intervals. So that kept the interest of the audience at peak, which was really amazing to look at. And you know, it was a little thing, but it was there among the audience. Everyone was fixated. Your gestures, when you referred to the past and when you said cut, were amazing. Like they were there. You could see it. What a great job you did with those classes. That was amazing. Let's put up. Your story was structured pretty much in a good way. There were a couple of instances where it did get monotonous, but then as and when you gave those gestures and when you asked the audience what your teacher's name, it was there. The audience was grasped. So a couple of things that could have been done better, which would have made your speech much richer. One thing was that till the later half of the speech, you were fixated at one spot. At the very end was when you started moving and started using the stage space. So that was one thing that you could have, made use of much more. Other thing was you could have added more power in the gestures. Even though you used them appropriately, you could have added more power. Confidence was really there, but as the confidence of a person speaks from the face, the confidence of a speech is spoken through the face of the speech. Your start could have been much more better. It could have been a little more powerful, but you just dived into the start, and your pauses, you could have given much more, a few amount of pauses so that we can grasp the concept of forgive and forget. That's all. But apart from that, it was an amazing speech.
So, firstly, it was a great evaluation, and I feel we have covered some of the points as far as the speech is concerned. Dilshad, as I've said before, I really look up to your speeches because I feel these are speeches which you are very much involved with the storyline as well as the script. I also know that with respect to speaking on the stage, I find you as a very confident speaker. So I really couldn't find any areas wherein I could give you suggestions or ideas wherein you could do this better. So I felt this was a speech that was well spoken and it was done very well. So a big round of applause. Now before we move on to the other parts or the other segments which I need to evaluate, I would just like to get a quick timing report because we have our voting links which are likely to go. So if you can just give us the timing for the speakers as well as the table topics.
In the prepared speech, except for 7 minutes, 9 minutes, 36 seconds, and 30 minutes are qualified. And table topic, all the speeches are qualified. In the avoider, on the avoider,
All three are qualified. So the voting links are likely to be out. Or they are out. Sorry? We want you to complete this. Okay, let's have the report from the outcome question.
Great speech, Toastmasters Kalura and Toastmasters Saurabh used 5 hours announced. And in the evaluation section, Toastmaster Chinmay and Rajiv has used more than 5 hours announced. And one table topic speaker has used within 5 hours announced. And Toastmaster Sanjay has used 3 times and 3-4 hours.
What about the listener?
What tagline Pratibha has used in her speech? What is the first lesson we learned from Saurabh's speech? Yes, what Mrs. McCann told her after the incident of mimicry?
bunch of things that I really like. One place was released by Dilshad that said a service town is something new to me. And certain improvements, it was mentioned that a place that was mentioned was teaching from each other, was teaching each other. And there was some going to home was used, it's going home.
The word of the day was not used.
The word of the day was used by Toastmaster Sanjay.
It's a popular word. So the links are okay.
Links are out for best speaker, most improved speaker, best debate topic speaker, best evaluator, and most better role player. So please vote for it.
Yeah. So I would encourage each one of you to vote.
So it's in the WhatsApp group. So I would like to request all the members to pass on their phones to the guests as well. Best speaker was earlier or now? No, earlier. It was earlier. Yeah.
Okay, so the links are out, so I would encourage each one of you to vote. In case you don't have access to the smartphone or the app, you can just reach out to your neighbors and they will be helping you with this. So moving on to the other segments of the meeting, in the interest of time, of course. So firstly, we started off with the Sergeant at Arms coming on the stage. I felt today the Sergeant at Arms role started right on time, that was at 5 o'clock. You also had a very nice way of getting the meeting started. You had some positive energy coming through, and it was a good vibe that we could feel as part of the audience. What I would suggest as an improvement area for you is, this is something that's come as a feedback from speakers who have been on the stage today, that people are constantly walking in, and if we could have somebody at the door, it would help, resorting or probably sorting on some of these discussions that take place. So that's the only suggestion that I have for you. The second person to come on the stage was the presiding officer, and this time it was Rahul who came on the stage. Rahul, you've done a good job. You had a good storyline. What I would encourage you to do is to personalize some of the stories that you have, because a lot of times you give examples, but if there are examples that are more specific to your life, I think that would do a great deal of good in terms of getting your message across. So this is my only feedback for you. A good job done. A big round of applause. The third person to come on the stage was the MC for the day, and this was Sanjay. Sanjay, as I've said before, you are doing these roles very well. I have seen you in the past as a speaker. I've seen you taking up roles in the past as well. Today I find you as a much more confident speaker. What I would suggest as an improvement area for you, and this is just a suggestion, is to constrict your sentences so that they are much more concise. I feel that you tend to use a lot of words in order to express a single point. So you could look at the aspect of bringing together your phrases and your sentences so that it is much more crisp when it gets to the audience. That's my only feedback. A good job.
Jitesh's name is not in the speaker's list.
Okay. I don't have access to the writing.
Jitesh's name is not in that list.
So, you will say the next. Okay. Alright, so the next person to come on the stage was the table topics master, and this time it was again Pragya who was doing this. Pragya, I find that this role is something that you are executing very well. The topics that you gave to the speakers were all well received by the speakers. All of them spoke well on the topics that were presented, which meant that it was relatively simple for people to handle. What I would suggest is that if you can bring in a little more energy and a little more excitement, that would do a great deal of good in terms of your hosting experience as well as your abilities. Apart from this, everything else was good about the table topics session. So a big round of applause. So with that, we are done with the evaluation segment for today. We had a wonderful meeting, and I'm sure we are able to overcome some of our differences. With this, I will hand the stage back to the MC today. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Karthik, for conducting such a wonderful evaluation session, including all the evaluators and the tag team. Thank you. And now we come to almost to the end of the meeting, and I thank all of you for making today's meeting successful. I thank Satya Kam, the speakers, the evaluators, the general evaluators, the tag team, including the audience. Without it, the meeting couldn't be possible. And lastly, about the theme, as let's try to give respect to all our opponents in our life, to have a fair and healthy competition atmosphere, so that we all can learn, no matter whoever wins in the competition. With this, I would like to invite our presiding officer to conduct the awards ceremony. Please put your hands together.
Having a good time?
Yes.
Okay. So with this, we are coming towards the end of the meeting. But before we get to the awards, since we just need 2 more minutes, I'd like to call our VP Education to just talk about the upcoming thing we are planning for the next few weeks. Toastmasters Culture.
Guys, as you all know, the Toastmasters, and this is not a blind guess, but what we do is when we set the agenda for every week, we ask for volunteers. We ask for volunteers to tag team, MC, TTL. Now, because of the late responses, it gets difficult to actually come up with the agenda well in time. Whereas an agenda should be floated at least 4 to 5 days in advance. Now, in order to streamline the process, what we've decided to do is, I have circulated, most of you might have seen this chart. I'll circulate it once again. What it has, it has columns for evaluator, MC, tag team, and table topics master. Any of you, all of you Toastmasters who would like to volunteer for these roles, please fill your names in. You can fill your names in multiple columns. And what we will do is, whenever I am drafting an agenda, I will use names from this list. In case you feel that you cannot make it to this meeting, I will also be detailing a standby, okay, from the list itself. Now, this week's standby automatically becomes next week's main role player. So let's say Achal is today's our counter, and her standby was Anjali. Next week, automatically Anjali becomes the main and a different standby is designated. Now, in case the main cannot make it, for some reason he or she cannot come to the meeting, it is his onus is on that person to connect with the standby, tell the person that he or she will not be making it, and to become the main for that week. You could either interchange. Let's say if Achal is coming next week and Anjali wasn't, they could interchange the roles. Okay? Or simply just say that, I will not be coming this week and Anjali can take the role. It will be recorded against Anjali's name. So Anjali will probably not get another half-counter role very soon once again. Okay? Only in case both are unable to play that particular role, only then get in touch with the VPL and then we detail somebody else. That way, some amount of responsibility and some amount of onus is on the person who is delegated a particular duty. It makes my job simpler to set an agenda. Since I have names of volunteers, it's not like I'm forcing it down anybody's throat. You will yourself volunteer for what role you wish to play, and from the list, I will put you up on the agenda. Sounds good to everybody?
Yeah.
Should we go ahead with the implementation?
Yes.
I have your word about coordinating with each other?
Yes.
Great.
So this is for, will you be circulating this in every meeting?
Yeah, so what I have done is, this sheet is already available on the Google Sheet wherein we play. And this I'll circulate in at least 2 to 3 meetings so that almost all Toastmasters are covered.
Right. I'm asking this because I might want to put my name in various roles, right?
Right.
But then it will depend on which meeting I put in my name for. For example, in a particular run speech, I have delivered that manual before. Say, in it can be a special occasion speeches, right? Receiving a award. So I might want to name evaluator only for those manuals, like right? So then how do we look at that?
So we probably look at evaluators separately. So then evaluators would normally depend, what you're trying to say is evaluators would depend on the type of speech. That we could look into later. Evaluators is still an easier slot to fill because we have limited people who are evaluators, and then you can take up a role depending on the speaker and his his topic. But it's mainly for the MC, the tag team and the TTM roles we find difficult to...
And can you put the date against which
we will want to.
Yes, that report, no, the date has been over here.
Yeah, because I might be there, like the next 2 weeks I'm not going to be there.
Right.
But I wouldn't mind taking up a role in the one after that, right? So if I put in my name and then next week automatically my name comes up and the week after that also I'm not there, then it's going to look as if I'm not doing my job.
So it sounds like a good idea, as long as any of you know any specific dates which you will not be available on, you can write the dates. I mean, or you could rather write the dates you will not be available on. So please write those dates and the rest will be taken that you shall be available. Right? So in case you are already in the know of which date you will not be available on, mention it against your name. Right? I'll circulate this once again and members fill it on your way out as well. Right?
So this is an experiment we are doing, trying to streamline the process so that it is a little more efficient. So there may be some situations which you may not foresee, but we will try to come up with a strategy as and when it's required, and based on the feedback we get from everyone. So now let's go to the certificates for the day. The most improved speaker goes to Toastmaster Pratibha.
Yeah, I'm not in demand. It's like one chat.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The best table topic speaker goes to Toastmaster Rakshit. The most valuable role player goes to TPM Pragya. The best evaluator goes to me. And the best speaker goes to Toastmaster Dalshad. With this, we come to the end of the meeting. The guests who are interested in becoming members, you can speak to our VP membership who is not here today, but you can speak to me or you can speak to Toastmaster Dalshad. At the end of the meeting, we'll be happy to guide you through the process of becoming a member here. We have our meetings every week, same time, same place. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for coming here on the occasion of the World Cup. And we have a house full, so that's also good to see. So let's give a round of applause for ourselves. So hope to see you same time, same place again next week. Have a good weekend. Thank you.